I'm Madamo. We are at Église St-Esprit on 6th Avenue and Rue Masson. Here are the familiar sounds of pots and pans here at the CASSEROLES meetup. There are many going on all over Montreal right now, so I'm not going to talk too much for now. I'll just let the sounds speak for themselves. If anybody has any questions or comments or something they'd like to know about this event, go ahead and put it in the chat. Don't be shy. I'll do my best to address your questions. All right, our first comment from a regular viewer here, Flarnob, saying we're just missing Pauline Marois here. It's an interesting point, and I would agree with the sentiment that this does lead to some reminiscing about 2012 and the Maple Spring that took place. It's sort of like being taken back in time. No Pauline Marois though, she's not here. So this is a community event, smaller scale. I'm not sure if there's going to be a march that's going to start at any point, but there are many of these happening all over Montreal, Ville-Saint-Laurent, Côte-des-Neiges, Villeray, other parts of Quebec as well, the Plateau. Got some honks of support. That's been happening quite a bit. Got some more people trickling in and joining in. I'm going to stand here for a little while so that the sound isn't overpowering, but so just to describe things a little bit, the casserole movement has apparently been going on for a couple of weeks now. Specifically, it's been centered here in Rosemont. There was a call out for another casserole demonstration to go on every Thursday, basically. And this is sort of the top billing here. There might be some other events going on all over Montreal, but I'm going to be centered here for the time being, depending on what kind of movement we see. But this is, as I was saying on Twitter earlier, this is a very different kind of event than what we've seen over the last days and weeks with the student demonstrations and anti-austerity demonstrations. Those are usually made up of sort of university-aged people, sort of a younger demographic, but the scene over here this evening is much more reminiscent of the kind of stuff that you would have seen in 2012. You've got families, people young and old, sort of a much greater diversity of people here. We do have some more people trickling in, and it's an interesting sight because I left the metro, Montreal metro station, took a bus over here, and when I got off the bus, I could already hear in the distance some pots and pans being hit, people walking through this location, sort of putting the call out through the bang of the pots and pans, maybe to alert their neighbors that this was going to be happening. So this very much seems like a community-oriented event. So I am quite intrigued to see if the noise resounding from this event is going to draw more people out, because it is a very sort of grassroots and organic kind of event. For those of you just joining us, we're here at a casserole demonstration here in Montreal. The main sentiment that I've seen, from the signs and some of the stickers and buttons that people have is anti-austerity. So very much in keeping with the student protests that we've seen recently. So any questions or comments or anything you'd like to point out, go ahead and put it in the chat. I will try to interact as much as possible. This is going to be a shorter stream today. I'm basically going to be covering what's happening here. And depending on whether or not it turns into a march, I might follow it if that's the case. But for now, let's just listen and enjoy the sweet, sweet sounds of banging pots and pans. I'd also be very interested to know if any of the viewers here can hear the sounds of pots and pans from where they are right now. If you're at home, let me know if you hear anything, or whether you've been to these events recently, or if you plan to attend. Go ahead and share that in the chat. So speaking for myself, from a personal point of view, this is quite a different kind of event to be covering. I've been out over quite a few nights covering Manif en Cours events, marches around downtown Montreal for the anti-austerity and student strike protests. And those usually involve a lot of running, a lot of tension, and a lot of looking out for the actions of protesters and police. So I guess this is a little bit of a break, something a little bit different. Lots of smiles, lots of enthusiasm here. Very, very different. We've got a question here from Katya K1 saying, are those casserole protests going on simultaneously in many places in Montreal? Yes, indeed. So you can actually go on Facebook and just type in casseroles and look at the event, and you'll see that there's a sort of recurring event for every Thursday. So the call is to have one of these every Thursday, and there are multiple locations, a casserole near you. Off the top of my head, I can remember that there were some all over Quebec, but specifically in Montreal. We had Plateau, North and South, Villeray, here Rosemont, Ville-Saint-Laurent, Côte-des-Neiges, all kinds of different places. So yeah, there are multiple events that are being held simultaneously, 7 p.m. on Thursdays. On Facebook, I did see that there was a call for this spontaneous meeting to last about 30 minutes, so about 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We are nearing 7:20 right now, so we'll see if it goes on a little bit longer. And like I said earlier, I'm not sure if this is going to transform into a march at any point, but I'll stick with it and we'll see what happens. Any other questions or comments, keep them coming. So while I wait for some questions and comments, I'll comment a little bit on recent events, things that have been going on surrounding the student strike and anti-austerity protests. I guess the most recent development would be, well, on the Quebec Liberal Party side, we did have a story come out in the Journal de Montréal yesterday that was making some sort of guilt by association allegations against Premier Philippe Couillard for some past business dealings, or somebody that he was associated with is suspected of some wrongdoing. So that created a bit of a kerfuffle in the media yesterday. It was reported on by several media outlets. And then I suppose the next thing would be the revelation that the new Champlain Bridge in Montreal is going to be, the contract has been awarded to SNC-Lavalin, which is a firm that's been embroiled in quite a lot of controversy recently. Some allegations of corruption, a lot of issues there, so I did see some people commenting on that weren't too happy about it and said it didn't look good. And then most recently, last night around midnight, there was a student strike vote at Cégep Vieux-Montréal. It was a secret ballot this time, not a show of hands as it had been in the past. And the vote, I believe, was something around 3-1 in opposition to continuing the strike. So that's the most recent development I can think of off the top of my head for the student movement. So I am very interested to see what the evolution of this movement in Quebec and in Montreal is going to be. Whether the student strike protest is going to continue in force beyond UQAM, and also whether there's a sort of a popular uprising element to this that will come out of these casserole meetings. It'll be interesting to see. Katya K1 asking if there's any police around. Nope. No, like I said, this is a very different kind of protest than I've been covering recently. There is no march element yet, so I don't know if people will be walking the streets, but this is made up of just people from the neighborhood. It's kind of a community gathering, sort of to show some solidarity in opposition to austerity measures in Quebec. So no police. Rob Tomorrow saying there's a whole lot of banging going on. Yes, there is. So I'll comment just generally on the sort of atmosphere and the sense that you get on the streets in recent days and nights regarding these ongoing protests. From my perspective, what it seems like is that there's a sort of simmering movement and simmering sentiment that hasn't quite peaked. A lot of people are upset about a lot of different things. At a lot of these Manif en Cours events, you'll see people protesting against austerity measures. They're protesting against as I was saying, they're protesting against quite a few things. There's anti-austerity sentiments, there's feminist sentiments, there's environmental sentiments. So a little bit of everything, but there hasn't really been a centrally galvanizing issue that people have latched onto aside from anti-austerity, which in and of itself is not as singular as maybe the sentiment was against the Liberal government in 2012, against the tuition increases, and then the loi spéciale, the special law that was put in place to deal with that. So we are all still kind of waiting to see if this is a new spring that dawns in Montreal, anywhere near the same level that we saw in 2012. I should say, though, that seeing an event like this, it certainly suggests that it's possible. People out in the streets banging pots and pans. It takes me right back to 2012 and covering those protests. I'd say that we've got about 60 or 70 people here. I haven't done a thorough head count, but that's what it looks like to me. So yeah, smaller, I wouldn't say low-key given the noise, but more community-oriented. And as I was mentioning earlier, I'm going to stick with it to see if this turns into a march, to see if maybe people take to the streets and maybe there's going to be a confluence of the different casserole meetups that turns into a larger march. I really don't know if that's going to be the case. I suppose while there's not necessarily that much for me to comment on right now or to analyze, people in the chat, go ahead, don't be shy with your questions and or comments, anything you'd like to add. I'm also very interested in your personal experiences. Have you been to any of these casserole meetups in the recent weeks? Do you plan on attending? Can you hear any banging of pots and pans from where you're sitting right now, either at work or at home? Or even if you'd like to comment on your experiences from 2012, anything you'd like to reminisce about or some experiences that you'd like to share, go ahead. We'll open the chat up and that would be a good spot to share that with everybody. Hi there, Jones 1963. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. Hope you had a nice birthday the other day. The crowd has built up a little bit here. People started trickling in a little bit after 7 o'clock, the starting time. Maybe some people didn't necessarily know this was going on, but heard the sound and grabbed a pan and a wooden spoon and came over. That's it. I was just handed a piece of paper here. It seems there's some community organizing going on here. We've got a message here for a meetup on the 23rd of April at Mousse Cafe, maybe to discuss the Spring 2015 movement. Katja K1 asking, saying that she's not a Montrealer, asking if this is happening near downtown Montreal. Yeah, near downtown, a lot of different neighborhoods, maybe about 8 or 10 in total, all over the island of Montreal and in other parts of Quebec as well. So it is currently 7:30 p.m. This was the proposed stopping point for the protest today, but it's continuing. So I will continue streaming for now. And as I said before, we'll see if this turns into anything else, if more people join, or if this turns into a march. Hello, Bishop Haney. Welcome back. I'm not complaining about anything, but these people are meeting up for a sort of pots and pans protest. They're called CASSEROLES here in Montreal and Quebec. And generally speaking, yeah, this is an anti-austerity demonstration, reminiscent of some of the stuff that we saw in 2012 during the Maple Spring. Some similar events happening all over Montreal. Apparently this sounds like New Year's Day in Latin America, according to Bishop Haney. I'll take your word for it. Here's what New Year's Day sounds like over here. Oh God, oh, why did I drink so much last night? Oh, and so on. Not me though, I don't say that. I'm a responsible adult, sort of. It's slightly surreal how reminiscent this is of 2012. People have got their red squares on. A lot of them do, anyways. Catch K1 saying, nice to see some community involvement in the protest. Yeah, I agree to a large extent because a lot of what I've been covering recently has been the night marches, and nothing wrong with those, but, you know, it's university-aged people, and they usually go a certain way, and this is sort of a nice change of pace to be covering something a little bit different. Less running for me. I don't mind running, but it's a nice change of pace. Don't think there's any chance that I'll be tear gassed here, which is also very nice. All right, so we got a question here from Bishop Haney asking what happened in 2012. That's a good question. For those of you who are not from here and don't have that context, I'll do my best to provide it. So, in 2012, there was another student strike. At that point, it was mainly in opposition to planned tuition increases. And students, university and college students in Montreal didn't take too kindly to those propositions. So there was a lot of strike activity, and that grew and grew, and it was kind of a stalemate between the government and the student movement. The government was very reluctant to talk to student leaders to try and come to a compromise. They very much had a hardline stance that the tuition increases were a necessity. And eventually, Quebec passed a special law that really tried to clamp down on the strike and protest activity. And it was viewed by some as kind of draconian and undemocratic. So that basically set off a much more popular movement that was less centered on students, although that was still the impetus. But a lot of people started coming out of the woodwork, started coming out of their homes at night, and it became a very much a grassroots movement, a large-scale movement of people of all stripes, of all ages, coming out in the streets to denounce the measures that were being taken by the Quebec government in response to the student strike. Eventually, an election was held.